All right, so this video is just to kind of update you. It's been about a day of me using this. The first day, I think it's been about a day. Maybe it's been less than a day, but it's been close to a day. And I'll say within this first 24 hours that this box is fully capable of doing so many things when it comes to sampling and creating stuff, but mostly from the sequencer side because the sampling still is limited on certain things. Manual chopping for sure is not there. I do hope they get that fixed sooner. I'll still say they could really work on being able to zoom in and definitely need to get some zooming in going on for these samples and let us do some manual chopping. Because even when you're like in this mode here and you look at a sample, I don't care what you sample, if you turn it on and it starts recording, I'm just gonna touch this, create some staticky noises. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do just to show you. You can see even with something like this, that's not really much of nothing. Like when you're trimming the front, you can't tell where you're at. I mean, you kind of see it, but and then the zoom, all the zoom that they have on here is doing. I mean, to me, it's confusing me. When I turn that zoom, I don't know what I'm zooming. If it's just enlarging it or if it's moving it, shifting it, it very much confuses me. So yeah, like it looks like I'm off, but so am I on or off? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So that to me could be fixed. The back end of the trim, when you do that, it gets larger and I'm like, wait, what? What's happening here? So I guess you zoom out and yeah, it's just, this is confusing me. I can't tell. See, when I move the zoom, it looks like I'm on. So, and then if I zoom, well, that part's off. Got to go back and capture that. And then at what point does it trim it? I have no clue. So I don't know what it's doing, if I'm being honest. I really just don't. I don't know how to use this. Well, I understand that that the zoom exists and that I understand to see how to save and delete and that you can listen to the sample function. Yes. You can adjust the, let's say you want it to just loop. So you can listen to it and kind of hear it where it's at, but yeah, I think that could be better. I think if they spend a little time on that portion, on giving us manual chopping, on making sure that the 0 point, now that would be really, if the zero, I keep saying this, but the zero snap crossing, if it was auto set in here where you could have it on, that would be much better for finding these little points. And then at least you know wherever you place the sample, you're at a 0 crossing point, so it doesn't matter. It would only go to those points. And then you don't have to worry about clicks and pops. That leaves your envelopes more open for other stuff. I don't know, that you might want to use them on. So it is what it is. And by the way, you do have amps and envelopes. And learning this thing, thanks to Jordo, I think that's how you say his name. Learning the Hode and all that stuff. It's a lot more there than I probably don't even use that kind of stuff. Or if I do, I don't even know I'm using it half the time on most of the synths. So for a newbie, somebody who's never really used these machines ever, it can be a little daunting at first. But if you really want to learn the machine and you put your heart into learning it, you can get it. I felt that way too when I learned the SP404. I was like, what on earth did I get myself into trying to mess with it? And yeah. So I'm glad, in a way, I'm glad I stuck with it because I was able to get it down pretty pat. And there's still stuff that you grow and you learn. I'm gonna delete that out. But just wanted to share this with you. I didn't give up so far. And here's a track that I'm kind of working on. Let me see if the track's unmuted. Yeah, so. So I did a little 4-bar. And when you stop it, it finishes out whatever samples were in there. And you double tap to stop it all completely. So it's got that little, I think the SP404 had it on the SX, and then they just recently added it to the SP404 Mark II, where it plays out through the end of it. And Drombo does that too. You can set it on to where it doesn't kill on the stop. It'll finish out that whatever point it is on that particular sample. I don't know if that's something you could turn off, though. I would love to know if I could control that, because sometimes if I'm just trying to stop it, I would love to be able to just press stop and just do it. But at least you can double tap and you realize it'll stop it at that point. Save buttons, pretty easy. Save projects. Once you've saved and named it something, I think I call this one Beautiful Tonic. It was just a random name in there, so I liked it. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll roll with it. I do like that kind of stuff. It creatively gives me something else to think about other than my typical stuff. Yeah, so there's some need for things to be better. I'm not gonna sit there and act like it isn't. There's definitely some things I'd like to see better, but some of it too is things that I may not know how to work, so I'm trying to learn it. So I'll have to say that can be kind of challenging. Preset pool, interesting. I didn't even think about all this. I don't even know what I would use that for. Stuff that I'm learning. So anyway, day one, I mean, my goodness, if you've never used that machine before, I'll say on day one of the OPEXY, I pretty much knew how to do almost everything. Of course, there's some little things here and there that you kind of learn. But so that one is more straightforward, but you paying for that straightforward too. And this one's cheaper, obviously, or at least half the cost, if not less. And it gives you the sequencing that you want. The only thing I wish I could see a little bit better, like, let's see. So see how I have this one linked into 8? When you play it, it's going to play it all the way out. Or it plays it there, at least. It's on the grid. I do like on the OPEXY, when you hit a button and then hit the last button, so you know how long the parts are. I kind of like seeing that, whereas on here I don't see it, so I don't think it does it. I could be wrong, and I have been wrong many times, but I only see where the trigger part is. I never see the other end of it, so it kind of confuses me a little bit, because I know in Drombo I can see, again, if I hold one down and slide across, I see the whole thing is this long, right? So I have to say I would like to see that more in here. Although if you hit here, so you see the trigger points. This is the trigger points for it. And then I think it's a page over, you can go through and see all the pages. I believe that's how you do it. Page over to see where the pages where it's hitting. So, I mean, you see it hitting. You just don't see where it ends. You can see where the next one starts, so that can help you to visualize it. But if these were like dimmer, and you can see that it was something here, that might, I don't know, that might be helpful for me. I liked it like that personally, but that's just not the way it is. So again, because see right here, everything looks the same. So I don't even know which. I think there's a way. Oh, when you hold this down, you could do this too. You don't have to use these arrows. You could just skip to a page like that. It's pretty quick. Little stuff like that they just give you so many ways to do the same thing, that I think that's the challenge of it. Kind of like the SP was like that. There was so many ways, like how do you stop a track? Hit exit 4 times, or press exit in something else, or it was like all these different things you could do to stop a track. And a lot of people were like, well, why you don't have just a play start on there, or I mean a play start, a start end, or a play stop, or however you want to term it. So I get it. everything is a little different. You just got to deal with the quirky stuff that's a little off. Just like you can use these arrows up and down to navigate the system, but you can also use this dial here too. But when it's on this screen, it acts as the volume level for the track. And then, I mean, the volume level for the master, I think it is. And then like a kind of like your master channel. And then there's your level for that particular track is over there. So you got all this stuff going on. You just got to figure it out. But those new features in here too, and I'm just talking now, showing you stuff I like. If you hit function down, you got access to that velocity doing that, or the ratchets thing that you want to do there, or even another preset pool, which I don't fully understand why I would load stuff into another preset pool when there's already one. But I guess if this one is pertaining to just this track alone versus the other ones can be used in multiple tracks. I think that's what that means. I mean, I'm just speculating on their reasoning for doing it. Another cool thing, like there's the bass there. You hit the keyboard, right? But if you hold down the keyboard, this acts as a keyboard octave. So you can do your octaves here. Or right now, the one thing I don't get is like in most stuff like Koala and other things, you have what they call the gate versus the one shot. Well, this machine has one shot. It doesn't say gate, right? So it's one shot. That thing is ringing all the way out, and I don't know how I would like to see that being added, like at least when you go in keyboard mode, instead of it being a one shot, it becomes at that point notes that you have to hold down. Because right now I can still one shot that in different. So I kind of, maybe there's some value in that for like drums, because you want to have them in one shot. But when you're in a keyboard playing an instrument, if you wanted to do that, or like even I think it's like this, you can put those single cycle waveforms in here too and do those. You kind of, and I know those you put them in loop to do them, but I don't know, just being able to play across the keyboard without it playing a one shot and just let it gate where it plays when my finger comes off, it stops playing. That would be kind of cool. So anyway, that's just me speculating. Again, I don't know. I don't get the second page other than the fact that you can see the sample where it's at. So that's kind of cool, but and these are in repitch. But anyway, it looks like I can only play one at a time. Oh well, it stop a few times and then it'll kill it. So yeah, so that's what I've learned so far. Obviously I've been able to make a track, so it's not impossible to do. It's not super complicated. For people that already know how to use these machines, they are probably looking at, this is not for you really. This video is way too simple-minded for you. You probably got this thing down, but for us other folks that are new or even people considering this machine, you can do it. Just dedicate yourself to doing it if you really want to learn it. And the same thing, I'll say that about the SP404. It was challenging at first, but once I got to where I got used to certain things and how it worked, it became so much easier, and I just locked in and did it. The cool thing too is you could temporary Koala, obviously you can record in. That's what this guy here is. You hear it popping. I have this, I need to unplug it or whatever, but you can easily just plug in Koala or plug in your computer and use your instruments there and record in. The only thing is, and you can record while it's playing, which is kind of nice. The only issue I have is I still don't think the sampler here is, yes, you can set the length of how long you want a bar to be. That's good. That is a good thing. But because I can't zoom in, I can't adjust stuff. It's kind of, it's a thorn in my flesh. Let's just put it like that, for lack of better words. So anyway, it is what it is. Again, you can set how many steps you want, and based on the timing of your track, you'll know kind of what you want to do here. So I'm not putting 16 steps, but like one step. I'm assuming one step based on what because the wording is not, I would say, a bar, but I'm assuming one step is one bar. Could be wrong, but it confuses me a little bit because it does go up to max, or 128 right here, steps. So I think 128 steps is the 8 bars that are there, right? That's how I see it in my mind, at least. So if it has 8 bars, then you have to go down. When you get down to steps, you got to start breaking that down, right? So that's the confusing part for me. So I'm trying, once you understand what one step is, then you'll have it, right? So if 128 is, let's just count it backwards. If 128 is 8 bars, then 64 would be, what is that, 6 bars? 32 would be 4 bars. 16 steps should be 1 bar. 8 would be a half a bar. 4 would be literally 4 steps. So steps are literally these. That's what they're saying, right? A step is this: 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. 2 steps here, and then 1 step is just a single step. So that's how I understand it. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. I don't mind. I'm wrong sometimes. I get it. But I'm learning. So this is just part of it. For this, I would probably leave it in max and then just trim the edges. But the problem with the trim is, you saw earlier how wonky that looks when it comes to the trim. They definitely need to fix the trim portion of that. If you like step sequencing, this machine is amazing. If you like to play in, it's amazing, but it's going to be challenging because there is some stuff you're going to want to do step sequencing on. I mean, that's just, especially, it's just going to happen. You don't have to do step sequencing on it. Technically, you could just play it all in, no matter where you're at. You can either... So you can record that in, hold down record, press that. It'll give you a count in. You can set your metronome. I have swing going on. You set your metronome on, turn your count in. They do different time signatures. So it's really cool. You can tap tempo by holding function and tapping the button. It'll tap the tempo in for you. So it's got just about everything you need. I mean, the biggest thing and the gripe I think on this machine right now is just pretty much just the slicing issue. And if they get some zero snap crossing and the slicing, manual slicing, this thing will be amazing. It's already it's top notch now, but I mean, imagine if it had those 2 features, it would be even better. So anyway, it's a fun device. It slows me down. It's a different workflow. It's a different pace. Sometimes you need that to help you create differently, start thinking of new ideas. And I think it's going to be phenomenal to mess with, to give me something. I like having at least one piece of hardware or gear that I'm using just to give me something away from the computer. Even though this is technically a computer, it's just something away from the standard workflow of being in an Ableton, which I still love Ableton. But anyway, you guys get the point. All right, that's the end of this video. I didn't want to take up any more time than I have. I just wanted to show you what I've learned so far. And yeah, fun times ahead. We'll see. All right.